You can't be serious! It's a disaster!
I understand, but we have to follow protocol.
Protocol? This is chaos!
The pH is way off.
What about the sample?
It's contaminated. Look.
I'm calling security.
How are the new readings looking?
They're consistent. No anomalies.
Good, let's proceed to the next phase.
Understood.
And by Friday, he'd be gone. I worked as a lab technician in a small manufacturing company. Small team. Tight space. Nowhere to hide. My manager, let's call him Colin, had been there for over 2 decades and made sure everyone knew it. He ruled through intimidation. If something went wrong, it was never his fault. If something went right, it was always because of him. I stayed because I needed the income, and honestly, I liked the work. I just didn't like working under a ticking time bomb. Colin didn't just manage. He targeted. If I wore headphones in the machine room to block out the noise, he'd accuse me of being lazy. If I asked a clarifying question, he'd call it incompetence. He'd mock me in front of the floor staff, assign me the worst cleanup tasks, and make little comments about how some people aren't cut out for real lab work. It was constant. Petty. Calculated. And designed to make me feel small. But then it escalated. One afternoon, he stormed into the machine room demanding to know why I had taken his funnel. I hadn't even heard him approach over the equipment. The second I removed my headphones, he exploded, swearing, shouting, getting inches from my face. I calmly asked him not to swear at me. That was apparently gasoline on a fire. He followed me out of the room, yelling loud enough that people across the building heard every word. I ended up hiding in the break room just to breathe. Management? They smoothed it over. That's when I started documenting everything. The real turning point came when he brought a hazardous chemical into our unventilated lab. No safety paperwork. No compliance forms. Just opened it like it was air freshener. The smell spread fast, sweet, heavy, wrong. Within hours, people nearby were complaining about headaches. When I asked if he'd filed the required safety documentation, he laughed and said he'd never needed paperwork in 25 years. That was the moment it shifted for me. This wasn't just bullying anymore. This was reckless. So I printed the safety form myself. Filed it. Quietly informed upper management. They didn't fully understand the chemistry, but they understood liability. Colin, of course, accused me of fear-mongering and trying to undermine him. That's when I started planning my exit. I interviewed elsewhere. Within weeks, I secured a new job offer with better pay at a university lab. The morning I received the official email, everything changed. About an hour later, the company owner walked into the lab looking furious. Our biggest client had just called. They'd received a massive shipment, wrong product formulation. Wrong flavor profile. Completely unauthorized. And I kept meticulous batch records. He asked me about the batch code. I pulled the logbook. There it was. A notation for a formula adjustment, signed off by Colin. The owner stared at it for a long time. He hadn't approved any change. I was asked to come upstairs to the boardroom. The owner closed the door and said he needed absolute honesty. I told him I had nothing to lose, I just accepted another position. Then I told him everything. The bullying. The safety violations. The pattern of cutting corners. And the fact that I had documentation for all of it. He called Colin. At some point during that call, the owner handed me the phone. Colin's voice was low, urgent. Don't say anything until I get back. We'll sort this out together. That was the moment I knew he was panicking. I handed the phone back and told the owner everything. Every incident. Every violation. Every signed entry. Then came Colin's final mistake. When confronted about the unauthorized product change, he tried to shift blame to me. That didn't hold up against written records. So he escalated. He threatened to expose sourcing shortcuts he'd been using, implying the company could face serious consequences if he went public. He tried to blackmail the owner. That sealed it. Colin was suspended immediately pending investigation. I was told not to answer any calls from him. By the end of that day, I had over 20 missed calls and a string of frantic voicemails. He even showed up before closing, demanding I stay and fix this with him. For the first time, I didn't feel intimidated. I just felt done. I'm going home, Colin, I told him calmly. Goodbye. The next morning, instead of enjoying my unexpected paid suspension, I was called back in. Boardroom again. Different energy. Colin had doubled down. Tried to blame me formally. But the documentation didn't lie. Neither did the safety form I'd filed. Nor the client complaint trail. Nor his attempt to threaten leadership. He was terminated effective immediately. Escorted out. And just like that, the loudest man in the building was silent. Then the owner looked at me and said something I'll never forget. You've been doing the manager's job without the title. They offered me the position. $10,000 raise. Full authority. Direct reporting line to upper management. I accepted. The same office where he used to lecture me. Mine. The same team he used to intimidate. Now reporting to someone who actually respected them. Within months, morale improved. Compliance improved. Client retention improved. Turns out leadership works better without screaming. The man who once chased me through the building now updates his resume somewhere else. And I sit in the chair he swore I'd never deserve. Sometimes the best revenge isn't loud. It's documented.